But as the funeral procession for Muhammad Ali continues, let's talk now to the former world champion boxer Chris Eubank, who is joining me here in the studio. And Chris, as you've been watching this final funeral procession for Muhammad Ali, what are your thoughts? Because such a legendary sportsman, I mean, a boxer, of course, but a sporting icon as well.
Well, isn't it peculiar how a boxer can stand on the same platform as Gandhi, as Mandela, as Martin Luther King? It's his vibrance, his light for humanity, you know, what he used boxing for as a foundation to actually help unite the world is just amazing.
What were your first memories of him? I mean, to what extent did he influence you and inspire you as a boxer?
Now, here's a man in a position where everyone seemed to be against him. His gamemanship was extraordinary. His charisma was engaging. It made boxing the king of sports. And I would say that his maverick, his way of doing things the way he wanted to do them, sparked my imagination. I'm a 19-time world champion, and my foundation is Muhammad Ali. Good conduct, good manners, a community gatekeeper, and a man who understood the art, the craft, and the life of what it took to actually be in there in the ring with the most dangerous men in the world.
So for you, he has been a role model, really?
Absolutely. I mean, you can track back in my career, many of the things I've done has been inspired by him. I'm like, well, when I was, I must have been, 2003, the invasion of Iraq, I was outside Downing Street. So I had been programmed by Ali to stand up for the people. And, you know, I tried to stop the invasion of Iraq at the time.
Now, inspired by the fact that he refused to fight in Vietnam?
Yeah, absolutely, just following the example. And I was doing it, I would say, unconsciously. And I couldn't understand at the time why there weren't, I suppose, so many people with me. At one point there was like 1.5 million people in actual fact. But standing up alone by myself with my truck outside Downing Street with the message on the back of the truck saying military occupation causes terrorism, I was unconsciously inspired to do it by Ali.
And we were hearing actually on that, having refused to fight in Vietnam, he was then banned for 3 years, right in the prime of his career. Yes. I mean, how sad do you feel about that we missed those 3 years of him in the ring?
I don't know whether I should be sad, because, you know, he was looking at the greater good, which was outside of self. So what he was doing was selfless, and that is the lesson. That's the magnanimity of the man is extraordinary, which is why we should have, as I said, these monuments around the world. In every city of the world, every nation of the world should have those monuments, because what he was teaching was he was about looking after each other. He was about we, and just a magnificent example of a man.
And when you talk about him as an example like that, are you saying really that sporting champions should have a kind of political awareness, perhaps, of the world and their responsibility?
We have, but it takes great courage to actually stand up and speak, because there are so many things that will befall you. You know, when you speak against the king, so to speak, then the king's men have to sanction you. And he was sanctioned, and for years. So what greater example can you get?
And he's, you know, having been the man who they refused to serve in a restaurant because he was a man of colour, And now we have this extraordinary final funeral procession. We hear there will be, there'll be people like former President Bill Clinton delivering the eulogy, world leaders there, thousands of people at the service, millions watching around the world on television. Extraordinary.
Bill Clinton speaking on his behalf, this eulogy he will give will be fantastic. I mean, I've never heard a speaker speak and actually grab the hearts of the people like Bill Clinton, and it's this will be fantastic, and deservedly so.
So, a fitting final procession for Muhammad Ali through his hometown, past some of the great landmarks where he grew up.
What will be fitting are these monuments, which should go up in every city of the world, to keep the light alive that he shone on the world, which is to actually, we have to come together as one, rather than having division, which is what he experienced in his career, and certainly the time in the 1960s for how it was for people in America, and the fact that he highlighted that, and he was for the children. He was about actually helping youth. Nothing more fitting than the monuments going up in every city of the world, and boxers actually cutting those ribbons and opening them up and keeping that message alive of, me is we, which is Muhammad Ali's very short poem.
Well, really good to talk to you and get your reflections. Chris Eubank, former world champion boxer, thank you so much for being with us.
Pleasure.
And remembering Muhammad Ali and that funeral procession continuing, 17-car procession, a 19-mile journey. And Chris was talking about some of the monuments around the world, but his headstone will be inscribed simply with Ali.